gets stabilized, and for a long time it's there, then maybe I have to revisit my strategy. So that's how it frees up the cash. And then firms having strengths, what happens actually, the firms having strengths in one area, and they try to free up their resources by outsourcing things. Now, not data processing is something which is being outsourced. Legal work is being outsourced in the companies now. Manufacturing, yes, in certain areas is being outsourced. Marketing of products, the banking sector is doing that, the telemarketing and all this. Payroll processing is being outsourced. But then, as you guys said, that there are companies now who are coming to run in a professional manner, take out the services as service providers and become the outsourced, not just the people provider. Has ever Ruxana gone and seen what people are doing in Unilever? We just take people. So that's where we are missing. When we talk of the cost benefit difference, I can assure you, if all of us sitting here, if we do the analysis, we will see the kind of productivity loss that we are having because of non-permanent people, contract people. I'm talking of the core activities. You see the productivity losses, we don't measure that. And that's important. When we talk of the cost benefit, the cost impact of third-party people working on site, we just look at one thing. Oh, I'm going to save his EOBI cost. I'm going to save his social security cost. But I don't measure productivity. And many studies have revealed that because what happens actually is the third-party people, if they are not treated fairly, if they are not given due respect, recognition, of course the motivation level is not going to be there. The man wants to earn the job, a salary. He or she has to run the kitchen. But are they motivated? No, they're not. Are they engaged? No, they're not. If they're not, they're always feeling insecure, then I'm sure their productivity level is going to go down. Their heart and soul is not going to be there in the job. And the same way, do they get recognitions? Do they get development opportunities? A person working in a factory, a person working on a shop floor, a person working in any other area would be getting, and then the benchmark is minimum wage in the factories. The government ने आज 6 से 7,000 कट दिया है, we're going to pay 7,000 रुपया. A person working for last 5 years will have 7,000 रुपया, and a person working for only a day, starting off, will have 7,000 रुपया. There's no differentiation. I mean, I'm sure the companies have to be hungry for profits. The companies have to be, including myself, for Unilever, we have to, to look at our bottom line, but at the same time, we have to see how best we can manage our resources and looking at productivity, looking at wastages, then how best we can use our resources. And even if a third parties are hired as an outsourced companies, but are they looking after their people? It's at the end of the day, it's Faisal will tell us, it's the principal employer's responsibility to ensure that all the basic rights, the basic responsibilities are delivered, are fulfilled by the service provider, the company to whom services have been outsourced. We don't do that. I'm sure most of us don't do that. And then we're going to land up in the troubles like as Mr. Zafar Usmani pointed out. But motivation of people, then how much time is spent in developing those people? Don't they have the right to be developed and groomed? If capabilities of third-party people are built, of course there has to be a system for that. There are going to be, it's not that directly we do as a company. I can't do that as Unilever. I'm sure Habib Bank cannot do that directly. But then there are third-party service providers, the companies who have taken the outsourced services. It is their responsibility, and we got to work with them, educate them, and build such companies in Pakistan who could actually develop their people, who are not working only for Habib Bank, who are not working for Unilever, who are not working for XYZ company, but they have their sites available, other companies also, other operations also, so that they can transfer their people, they can build their skills, and the people also feel valued, not neglected. So that's where actual difference is made. So it's very important that when we really go for outsourcing, we go for contracting out services, we got to be very clear, and we got to know why we are doing it, what and how, and when to be done, then evaluate the service provider. That service provider, do they have the capabilities? Or we just pick somebody and say, tum aise contractor ban jao, ye kaam le lo. That's where we go wrong. Do they have the capabilities? Do they have the skill? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the infrastructure? And the kind of delivery that we expect out of them? Do they have people for that? Do the people have capabilities? If not, then isn't it better to work through them? Because in Pakistan, we don't have so many companies yet available. Yes, now few are coming in, but you know, and then even some of the service providers, they actually take a back seat. They are happy to provide people, to be called service providers, and take a back seat. When an issue arises, they are not seen anywhere. I think the system and process has to be built in such a way where they really feel responsible and they own their people who are being employed by them to deliver services what they have been outsourced. And then they got to make sure, they should ensure there is a cost of that. For everything that we do, there's a cost. But then there has to be a cost-benefit ratio, which needs to be worked out. And then they need to develop and groom their people also. The question could come, groom for what? By their human beings. They also have some aspirations of their life. Let's not treat them as chattels. And if there are people who are groomed, who are motivated, who are engaged, who have the capability and skill, they will do wonders for the businesses. There's a new concept coming up, I'm sure some of you would be familiar, even in Europe now, to pay bonus to third-party employees also. To pay different kind of pat at the back kind of a recognition, which is again not a new thing. Every philosophy of HR talks about that. But that's something which is very important. And the point that I want to highlight, yes, there is a need. Third-party services are hired. Outsourcing is done. Contractors, employees are hired through contractors, through service providers for a specific job. If it's a job which is a long-term job, then you got to see that what need to be done and how it has to be handled. However, peaks and troughs, projects, some specialized areas like software thing, payrolls, back office data crunching, these are the jobs which can be easily outsourced, and we don't run the risk of being exposed. And the basic thing is to define core and non-core. And of course, for the peaks and troughs of any, like for ice cream business, we have a peak. Yeah? So we're gonna need excessive people. We can't hire those people as permanent people. So we got to keep a basic bench of people. Then for the peaks, we got to have some flexibility. So service outsourcing also provides flexibility, which is very important. And that flexibility also has to be managed in a very smart way. But, and at least I can talk about my organization, that any third-party person who enters into the factory, at least in the factories, we ensure that at least for 1 week, that person is given a proper training in terms of safety of humans. A man is going to go on a machine, and if he or she is not trained, what's going to happen? It's going to could lead to an accident. So it's responsibility of an employer to make sure that any person who is going to go, who is not trained to work on the machine or in the factory area or in the production area, is given. So at least we do that. It's a cost to us. I would say 100%, perhaps not 100%, but at least to 70 to 80% we do that in our factories. We ensure that people spend a week in terms of safety, in terms of hygiene, in terms of the discipline issues before they are put on a job. So these are the basic things. And I come back to a point, yes, outsourcing will continue. It has been there. It will expand. The shape is going to change. There are certain known collectivities for every business. There are common activities for every business, like data crunching, back office workings, payroll workings, back office accountings, security services, housekeeping, janitorial services, catering services. These are going to be available, going to be outsourced. Yeah, but outsourcing has to be done through a different mechanism, which Zafar Usmani sab talked about, Faisal will talk about in more detail later. And then the companies who are providing outsourced services, they have some responsibility also. Yes, profit making is very important, Zafar Sahib, but you also have some responsibility if you're coming in this field, that you know the pitfalls, you know what you have been facing, what you have faced, the challenges that we people are facing. So it's a responsibility that you build your team in such a way that you actually come in a professional manner where the employers, yes, there's a cost to that, I again say, but the employers, you know, they are taken off the burden of managing directly people in these areas, and at the same time, you know, there is a focus on people development also. If somebody is working on a machine as a clerk, if somebody is working a data processor, but then the person, if he or she is looked after, some development planning is done for the person the way it's done for regular people, permanent people, you know, some appraisal system is held for them also in the way they for the regular and permanent people, they will also feel important, they'll be motivated, their heart and soul will be with the organization where they're working, and because they are contributing in generating wealth, so I'm sure they have right to be taken care of also, but of course in a very different manner. And also the benefit, when talk of cost, look at security services, because security services have a big house. They are managing in a different way. So they can, lot of their overheads are distributed to different clients. So the cost of service is lowered. The same way if we have professional companies like it's in Europe and other countries and developed countries, then not just a subcontractor or a contractor for one simple unit. If they are professional groups, their overheads are absorbed, diluted, distributed to different companies, different clients, then the cost is reduced. So that's the way to reduce cost. The way to reduce cost is not to pay minimal to people, not to look after them, not to provide them social services, not to provide them pension services and save money on that. The way is to build professional organization for service providing, and they act like professional houses, and then they are really working not for just one client, maybe 20 clients, so they specialize in that field. Security is a field. Housekeeping could be a field tomorrow. Recruitment services is a field. Training and development is a field. Yeah? Instead of hiring 10 trainers in a company, you know, and having the fixed cost, if we can take services from a training house who have the experts and specialists available, then the cost is going to be different, and I'll have the valuable services available to me. So there is a way to think, and that is, let's stop talking about contract employees. Responsibility lies with HR practitioners, be it people at Zafar Usmani Sahib's level and Rukhsana's level, and all of you sitting here, that we should develop a concept of professional outsourcing in this country, and that's the way to go forward. And I assure you, the cost benefit that we talk about, cost reduction, it could be realized that way in a more professional manner, instead of going in a very haphazard way, that here's a contractor employee, wo notice de dega, usko warning mil jayegi. These, we should walk out. We got to now, we are connected with the global village. We go to compete, you know, and with industry outside the country also. And Zafar Sahib, let me tell you, yes, if we don't wake up, guys and girls, international organizations, labor organizations are entering into this country. अभी Zafar Sahib ने कहा कि क्या वजह है कि अभी तक किसी ने, somebody raised a question, किसी ने नहीं किया case, the cases are going to start now. Because there are international labor organizations who are entering into this country. They have started getting associates, and there are few companies within Punjab who are facing some, I won't name those companies, but they are facing problems. They are getting those issues. So that's going to spread. And also, because if the cost of production here is low, look at the global case. Somebody sitting in America is going to say, why is my production going down and production in third world countries is increasing? Because their labor cost is very low.